Hello, and welcome to Communicate to Lead, the podcast that empowers leaders and aspiring leaders to communicate with clarity and impact. I'm Kele Belton, CEO and successful entrepreneur, and your host for today. I'm here to equip you with all the essential tools and strategies to master effective communication and lead your team to success. As the founder and CEO of The Tailored Approach, my goal is to empower you to be the best leader you can be. So sit back, relax, and join me in today's episode as we dive into the art of communicating like a true leader. Have you ever had that sinking feeling? The one where you've poured your heart and soul into a project, worked nights and weekends only to watch someone else take a victory lap with your work. Or worse, to feel yourself get completely erased from the success story. Does that make your blood boil just thinking about it? Well, last week, a coaching client of mine lived this. She was instrumental in shipping a major software product. When it went live, the sales leader managed a demo to hundreds of customers. He thanked person after person except for her. His excuse? I didn't realize you were on the call. But here's what really lands the punch. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was the third time in 1 week that her contributions were erased, minimized, or stolen. If you're nodding your head, if your jaw is tightening right now, this episode is for you. Because today, I'm introducing a concept that's going to give you back control, and it's called the strategic off-ramp. I'm your host, Kele Belton, and welcome back to Communicate to Lead, the podcast where women leaders who refuse to stay invisible. Now, you might remember back in episode 119, I talked about quiet cracking, that moment when high-achieving women finally break under the pressure of being undervalued and doing all the work. Well, today's conversation is what comes after the crack. It's about what to do when you realize that no amount of excellence is going to give you the recognition, the promotion, the salary increase you deserve at your current company. The strategic off-ramp is not about giving up. It's not about quiet quitting. It's about getting strategic with your exit so you can finally land where your brilliance is not only seen, but celebrated. Consider this analogy. Imagine you're on a highway that's taking you nowhere. You could drive the same route hoping the destination will magically change. Or you could take the strategic off-ramp, a planned, intentional exit that leads you to where you actually want to go. Let me tell you more about my client's work from hell, because I guarantee you'll see yourself in these stories. Here's story one. She was instrumental in shipping that software product I mentioned earlier. Not just helped with it, instrumental, but when success time came around, she was completely erased from this narrative. The sales leader's excuse was laughable. He didn't know she was on the call. Really? The woman who built the thing you are demoing is not worth acknowledging. Here's the second story. During that same week, she got another gut punch. My client went out of her way to support another woman leader who was struggling to get the visibility for her work. She spent her own time advocating for this woman, making connections, and essentially championing her behind the scenes. When the woman finally got the recognition she deserved, thanks to my client, she never once acknowledged my client's support, not even a simple thank you or mention that she'd helped her along the way. When my client asked her about it, the woman said she didn't want to complicate things by bringing up my client's involvement. Talk about feeling completely betrayed after having another woman's back. But here's what really happened psychologically. We've been conditioned to believe that good work speaks for itself. But in corporate environments where visibility matters more than performance, this belief becomes our biggest career limitation. This is part of a larger pattern I see with my high-achieving clients. They are consistently doing work above their pay grade, covering for leadership gaps, and being the reliable person everyone turns to when things need to be done correctly. Yet when promotion time comes around, there's always an excuse: budget constraints, restructuring, not the right time, or my personal favorite, being told they need to develop more leadership skills while watching less qualified colleagues get advanced. Sound familiar? These women manage themselves. They are consistently high achievers, but somehow the goalpost keeps moving. This is what I call the invisible excellence trap. When you are trapped in a cycle of over-delivering and being under-rewarded, and no amount of excellence changes the equation because the system was never designed to see your value in the first place. So what's different about the strategic off-ramp versus quiet quitting? Quiet quitting says, I'm done trying, so I'll just do the bare minimum. The strategic off-ramp says, I'm done trying here, so I'm going to redirect my energy towards finding where I can thrive. It's the difference between sulking in the corner and actively planning your escape to somewhere better. Instead of continuing to pour your extra energy into a company that doesn't value it, you are going to reclaim that time and invest it in securing your next opportunity. The strategic off-ramp is about doing your job well, not exceptionally, simply well, while using your reclaimed bandwidth to network, job search, and position yourself for the role you actually deserve somewhere else. And here's the brilliant part. You are going to do this over the next 6 months, which puts you in the perfect position to start your new role after you have collected your hard-earned bonuses in Q1. Because after years of over-delivering, you have earned every penny and you are not leaving a dime on the table. Before we dive into the strategy, let's talk about 2 critical questions. How do you know it's actually time to work on your strategic off-ramp? And what do you need to have in place for success? You know it's time for a strategic off-ramp when you can check off 3 or more of the following. You've had the same conversations with your manager about advancement multiple times with no real change. You are regularly doing work that's 1 to 2 levels above your current position without the title or the pay. You find yourself thinking, I could do their job better about people above you. You are the go-to person for crisis management, but never considered for senior leadership roles. Your ideas are consistently implemented, but never credited to you. You've been promised next time for promotions or raises more than twice. And finally, you feel exhausted by trying to prove your worth instead of energized by using your skills. If you're nodding to most of these, your gut is telling you something important. Before you start your strategic off-ramp, you need 3 foundations. First, financial foundation. Having a financial runway gives you negotiating power and timeline flexibility. If you need to build this up, use your current employment stability to your advantage. 2, professional foundation. You need an updated LinkedIn profile, a current resume, and at least 5 to 10 active professional relationships. If your network has gotten dusty or rusty, that's totally okay. We'll fix that in the strategic off-ramp framework. And lastly, 3, emotional foundation. This is the big one. Many of us, especially high-achieving women, are conditioned to be the good girl or the good student. We believe that if we just do the work, get an A+, and are patient, the boss will eventually give us the golden star we deserve. The emotional foundation requires you grieve the fact that the gold star is never coming from this boss. It's accepting that this company system is not designed to reward you, and it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limitations. This isn't failure. This is graduation. It's like preparing for a cross-country move. You wouldn't just throw everything in your car and hope for the best. You would plan, save, make sure you have every support possible along the way. So now let me walk you through the 4 steps of the strategic off-ramp framework. I call it the exit method. The E stands for evaluate and accept, and this happens in month 1 of your strategic off-ramp. So here is the reality check. First, get brutally honest. Ask yourself, have I been waiting for recognition that never comes? Am I consistently over-delivering without being rewarded? Have I been passed over for promotions? That's your reality check. The next thing you want to think about is your mindset. So if you have answered yes to how your work environment is, it's time to accept that the problem isn't you, it's the environment. This is where you stop trying to prove your worth to people who have already decided not to see it. The second step in the exit method is extract. Here's where you want to extract yourself strategically, and you do this in months 2 and 3. You want to start reclaiming your energy, start doing excellent work instead of exceptional work. You want to meet your deadlines, deliver quality work, but stop going the extra mile. That extra energy you've been pouring into overtime and weekend work, you are going to redirect it. Set boundaries. Stop volunteering for extra projects. Leave work at a reasonable hour and use your lunch breaks for networking instead of extra work. Your new internal mantra becomes, is this required for my job, or is this me donating my uncompensated brilliance? I'm going to say that again because this is a good one. Ask yourself, is this required for my job, or is this me donating my uncompensated brilliance? That's your new internal mantra. Every time somebody comes to you, this is what you're going to ask yourself. Step 3 of the exit method is the I. Initiate your external strategy. And this happens in months 3 to 5. So the first phase is networking. And you can do this in months 3 to 4. Use your reclaim time to reach out to 2 or 3 new contacts per week. Have 1 to 2 informational interviews monthly with people you might be interested in working with, or companies you might be interested in, or even organizations that you want to know more about. And engage more on LinkedIn. The key here is consistency over intensity. You're rebuilding relationships that may have gotten dusty while you have been overworking. So that's the networking phase. The next phase, which happens in months 4 to 5, is what I call the strategic search phase. Once you have warmed up your network, you have been communicating and connecting on LinkedIn, shift to the active job search. Apply to 1 to 2 carefully selected positions per week and leverage the relationships you've been building. Remember, this isn't about desperation, it's about selection. You are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. And then finally, the last step in the exit method, time your transition. This is what happens in month 6. Plan your start date for your new role to be after you have received your year-end bonus. You have earned this money, do not leave it behind. And when you give notice, maintain your professionalism. Remember, you're not leaving because you are a quitter. You're leaving because you are a strategic thinker who knows her worth. When you get to the exit interview, keep it brief and forward-looking. You could say something like, I found an opportunity that is a fantastic next step for my long-term career goals. Notice what this doesn't include. You're not over-explaining, apologizing, or justifying your reasons or decisions. You are simply stating facts professionally. So there you have it, the strategic off-ramp framework, which I call the exit method. So putting this framework into action, especially the extract yourself phase, requires communicating your new boundaries. And I know this can be hard, so I wanted to give you some word-for-word scripts that you can use to maintain those boundaries professionally without burning any bridges. So here's the first script that I call the boundary reset. When someone asks you to take on extra work, here's something that you can say. I'm focused on ensuring my current priorities are delivered with the quality they deserve. To take this on immediately, which of my current priorities should be moved to accommodate it? Here's why this script works. This isn't a no. It's a yes and, where you are remaining collaborative while professionally placing the responsibility of prioritization back on your manager. Script 2 is what I call the professional no. When you are pressured to work late, here is what you can say. I want to make sure I'm bringing my best thinking to this project. I'll tackle this first thing Monday morning or tomorrow morning when I can give it my full attention. This script works because you are framing your boundary as a commitment to quality, which is difficult to argue with. And then the last script, which I call the exit explanation. When you do give your notice, you could say, I've accepted an opportunity that aligns perfectly with my career goals. I'm committed to ensuring a smooth transition over the next 2 weeks. This script works because it is positive, professional, and forward-looking. It provides a complete explanation without you over-explaining or apologizing, or even justifying why you are leaving the company. And there you have it, your 3 scripts that you can use, that you can tweak to make sure that they resonate and they feel good to you when you are sharing them. So before we wrap up, let me warn you about the biggest mistakes I see women make when they are in the invisible excellence trap, when they are doing all the things, but they're not getting rewarded. The first mistake is thinking that you have to just work harder and then they will see your value. You've already proven your value. The issue isn't your performance, it's their perception and priorities. The second mistake is what I call the hope strategy, waiting and hoping that recognition will magically appear. Hope is not a strategy, and waiting gives other people control over your career timeline. Mistake number 3, which is the burnout exit. That's when you leave without having another job lined up because you just can't take it anymore. And I get it, but strategic patience pays better than emotional decisions. The strategic off-ramp gives you a plan that honors both your emotions and your financial security. You've worked tirelessly in your job. Don't leave if you don't have a clear path of where you are going next. The strategic off-ramp isn't about giving up on excellence. It's about redirecting your excellence towards people who will actually value it. You are not settling for less. You are strategically positioning yourself for more. Okay, if today's episode resonated with you, take an honest inventory of your situation. Identify one boundary you can set this week and reach out to one person in your network where you can start rebuilding some professional relationships. And if you're thinking, Kele, this is exactly what I need, but I'm terrified to do it alone, I hear you. This is a high-stakes move. Having a strategist in your corner is the difference between a smooth acceleration onto a new highway and a bumpy, uncertain exit. Think about it this way. What is another 6 months in the invisible excellence trap going to cost you? Your salary potential, your confidence, your mental health, your entire well-being? The investment in getting this transition right pays off for itself in your first negotiated salary. If you are ready to trade frustration for a clear, accelerated strategy, I invite you to schedule a call with me for one-on-one coaching. And this coaching is for women who are done waiting and are ready to take decisive action. You can find the link in the show notes. Remember, your future is not on this dead-end road. It's on the one you are building yourself. Until next Thursday, my friend, I am Kele, reminding you that great communication is the foundation of inspiring leadership. Keep learning, keep growing, and remember to communicate to lead.